Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today I'm taking a look at the Hospital Simulator 2 Hands Hospital Assistant Simulator. This is a new release today. I was given early access of this, so I did play this a couple of days ago and recorded my footage and stuff. I put a fair few hours into it, so I could give you a little bit of insight for you simulator fans out there, which I regard myself as one of them. I play a lot of simulator games, I review a lot of simulator games. Quite a lot of them can be of low quality. So where does this one kind of stand? Well, this is priced pretty reasonably. In the UK, it's around $7.99, I think. It's got platinum trophies, all that kind of stuff. And this is actually quite a fun little addictive hospital themed simulator game. Now you are in charge at the beginning of like a floor of a hospital. You have 4 beds initially. Well, no, actually you've got 2 beds and you can fairly quickly unlock 4 beds. And what you basically have to do is you get customers coming into the hospital and you have to admit them, so they'll go and get in bed. And then you've got to diagnose them. Now, you do this by going and getting a test tube, bringing it to them, giving them a test tube so they can get samples, taking the test tube into the lab area and analysing that. And it'll come back and it'll basically tell you what's wrong with them. Depending on what it is, you have a number of options available to you. It usually gives you like 3 options to treat them. So you'll go to your medicine cabinet, and it'll give you one that's like a surefire hit. It'll cure them, but it'll take a bit longer. And then there's other 2 that are a little bit more dodgy. That'll cure them, but it actually might make it worse. But it's up to you. But if they do work, the other ones, they're quicker, so you can get them out of the bed quicker if you like. So that's what you do. You get your test tube, go and get your sample from them, put it in the machine to analyse. It tells you what's wrong with them. You get the most appropriate medicine. You take it back to them, give them their medicine, and depending on what you've given them, they will start curing them, getting better. And then once they get to 100% in regards to how fit they feel, how much you've cured them, they will then leave the hospital very, very happily and pay their bill on the way out, which is how you make money. Rinse and repeat. Now, there are certain things, obviously, that you upgrade in this game. You have to kind of buy extra beds and then extra rooms so that you can treat more patients, more and more patients. So the more patients that you're treating, the more money you can make when you cure them. But it's also makes it a little bit more difficult because you're spinning more plates, if you like. You're running back and forth, collecting test tubes, analysing results, giving out medicine, so on and so forth. So you're kind of running back and forth, if you like, kind of getting these results and getting the meds, etc., etc. But there's also, where every time you level up, if you like, it unlocks access to different rooms, access to different floors, access to different meds, more complex medications that you can purchase. So there's like a shop. So, if you want to treat people, one of the most popular early medicines to give people is like a herbal remedy sort of thing, or there's rice water, that kind of stuff. So you got to make sure you've got plenty of these in stock, because if you haven't got them in stock and that's what they need, then you're going to have to order them, and then it takes... well, I'm not actually sure how long it takes. It feels like a couple of minutes before they actually arrive. But that time would be better spent if they were being cured and getting out of the bed, so you've got more people to get into the bed. There's other things as well in the game. There's like illegal means to sell you drugs. There's people come in like... I don't know, people that buy hospital meds, I suppose, for nefarious means, and you can sell things to them to make an extra buck, if you like. It seems a little bit tacked on. You have to do it once as part of the tutorial, and then after that, you don't really have to do it again. And to be honest, I don't actually think I did do it again, because there's no need. So it's quite easy to make money in this game. As you cure people, they will go on the way out, they will pay the bill. but also the more beds that you unlock, the more rooms that you unlock, so on and so forth. Different meds are different prices to buy. Yes, you are going to shell out some money to pay for some of these things. But even if you like spend all your money, buying new beds and then buying new medications and stuff, cure another half a dozen patients and you've got plenty of money again. So it is one of those games that it really just depends on, is the gameplay loop addictive enough for you? Because it is really what I've said. Getting your test results, testing them, getting the lab results, finding out what's wrong with them, treating the illness, and there are different illnesses that are unlocked, but you still kind of diagnose them the same way, if you like, with the test thing. There's other things that you're going to do as well. If you mistreat somebody, they might get too hot, so you've got a fire extinguisher that you will need to kind of cool them down. There's a defibrillator that you may well need if you kind of bugger things up so badly. You're going to have to defibrillate them. You can name your hospital, you can rebrand it to whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, it does throw in some fun little side stuff in here as well. Like I say, the fire extinguisher and the defibrillator type of thing. But a big chunk of the game is you making sure you've got enough stocks of medication on the shelves, making sure you've got enough test tubes because you have to purchase them as well. And then balancing it all so that you've got everything that you might need on stock to hand to kind of diagnose and treat the patients that you've got in your hospital and get them out as quickly as you can so that you can get new patients in. I found it quite fun and entertaining for what this game is, and it's clearly not the prettiest game you're ever going to play, but the mechanics all work. There's sometimes with games like this, there might be a couple of features that don't work particularly well, or it might crash, or it might be janky and horrible. It all flows very nicely. It does everything it's supposed to do. It's just not the prettiest looking game. The patients, for example, they're not exactly well designed and that kind of stuff. But it does everything that you want it to in regards to like a hospital game. They're trying to be a 3D version of 2 Point Hospital in a lot of ways. Now, I mean, they're nowhere near that game because 2 Point Hospital is just a fantastic game. But for the price that this is, what it offers in regards to, a fairly addictive gameplay loop, I think this is a half decent game. I've given it a 6 out of 10. Pick it up if it looks like it's something for you. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please click the like button. It's very helpful for the channel. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.